Good morning again. When I was young, when I was a little girl, the story from Luke today had a really weird hold over me. I could not let it go. And to be honest, I never really paid attention. I never really heard what came after the question from the Sadducees. Never heard it because I was distracted. I had questions. 7 husbands? That poor woman, 7. Assuming she wanted to be a wife and mother, that is horrible bad luck. 7, possibly infertile husbands that all up and die. That is a life filled with absurd tragedy. And as a kid, I was really worried that she may also have to be the wife of all 7 brothers in the afterlife, and what does that look like? But I think, looking back, I don't think that is why that question gripped me so much. Because now, as a woman and wife and mother myself, I can appreciate the fact that maybe this woman, unlike me, did not want to be a wife or mother. But her wishes or needs or even thoughts are completely unknown to us because they are of no concern to the Sadducees. The only thing that matters to them is that she is given to a man in marriage to produce offspring. As a girl, I only knew that the story felt wrong, lopsided. As an adult, I know that no one should be given to another person in marriage or any other relationship. No one should be owned. People are not for the taking. And as Christians, we are bound by our baptismal covenant to strive for justice and to respect the dignity of every human being. But this woman's dignity wasn't even a thought, no consideration. It was of no concern. No one was bothered. No wonder this bothered me then, as a little girl. Of course, being an adult now, I can also tell that the absurdity of the story is just part of the argument this trick question makes. 7, really? The Sadducees are not curious. They are debating. Unlike little old me, they don't really want to know who this widow is married to in the resurrection life. They don't believe in it. They believe in Moses and the laws that Moses gave them. Sadducees didn't even bother with the prophets because they are not waiting for the Messiah. No afterlife exists. They believe that immortality only comes through children, which, they argue, is why Moses instructed that a widow should marry her late husband's brother to continue the family line. Immortality. There was a similar trick question going around at the time as well. This one sounded like this. Will the resurrected person need a ritual cleansing because, see, technically, they have just been in contact with a corpse, even if it is their own? The sarcasm and smugness are just a little bit more on display in this one, huh? And it can be really hard to resist the urge to answer this sort of argument in kind. Civil discourse is always at danger when ridicule and hyperboles fly. These kind of arguments are like bait. If we pick them up, they can bring us down to a level of absurdity and aggression ourselves. It is most unproductive, but boy, is it hard to resist. Jesus, of course, does not pick up the bait. He bypasses the mockery and aggression and answers them. Those who belong to this age marry and are given in marriage. But those who are considered worthy of a place in that age and in the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage. He ignores the argument against resurrection for the time being, and instead he explains how different a resurrection life is from a life focused on this age. He says, in this age, you can take a person in marriage. You can be owned by your husband. In this age, you guys have slaves and servants at home. In this age, human dignity is not respected. But in the life to come, in that age, no one knows anything to anybody. People give out of love for God and out of love for neighbor. And Jesus says that the people who are worthy of life everlasting, they live this truth now. Being of this age, they live into the age to come. All their relationships, the closest ones, like to a parent or a spouse, and the ones who we are barely aware of, like the people who keep us safe while we are sleeping, or the people who make our clothes. All relationships are marked by respect, freely given and freely received. No relationship in that age is one of ownership. And those worthy of resurrection respect the dignity of every human being in this age and in the next. But the Sadducees easily could have dismissed Jesus as a religious fanatic that maybe drank the Kool-Aid of resurrection. Sure, they could say, let's change the way we do things around here, the way we like them, the way they work for us. Just because you say, people do come back to life. We don't believe in a Messiah. So Jesus finally brings up the big guy, Moses, the one that the Sadducees hang everything on. And Moses, when he sees the burning bush, says himself that God is the God of Abraham, is the God of Isaac, and is the God of Jacob. Not was, is. He is the God of people that are no longer alive in this age, but are alive in that age. God is not God of the dead, but of the living. For to him they are all alive. Moses said so. And that ended this one debate. We don't know how the Sadducees reacted, of course. We don't know if any of them were able to hear this truth. It is my hope for them. It is my hope for them and for me and for you and for all future generations that we continue to live and hear it. That this truth survives the smuck trick questions thrown around in our age. We live in this fleeting age of human existence. But we belong to the age to come. We belong to life everlasting, where even the hypothetical widow of 7 men is alive and free. That is the truth. And because that is where we belong, we live for it every day. We seek to be worthy of it every day, now. We respect the dignity of every human being because we are all alive in God. Amen.